Now Vlad's part's been drying basically 24 hours. Boy, that came out, that repair is like an amazing thing to me. Totally amazing. Steve and I were planning a little ride, trying to get a ride in, but didn't work out. And I'm going to try to get these two parts ready for Vlad so he can pick them up. Oh, I always think the test of a part is if you can watch television in it. Well, you can see that part. This is just great. This really did dry up nice, but keep in mind it was probably over 90 degrees most of the last 2 days, so this paint it's totally hardened up. Should be ready to buff out right now. The last time I was up by Vince's shop, we did some work up there, and I had the buffing bucket, and you can see it's got a laundry basket full of stuff, but today we're going to use it. And the way I played this job out, I thought there's 4 of these fairing pieces. I'll try to get 2 done. I'll try to get the best 2 so Vlad can put that bike back together. And luckily this morning, the new tire for the 650, the new tire came, and I still have to do marks this fairing part, and there's 1 fairing part back there, depending on how the time works out. But he's already got a whole set of body work all set to put that bike together. And I need the decal before I have the paint. I need the decal. So it looks like, as always, it's just going to be as busy as can be here. Now, most of the time when we spray anything, especially clear, there's always some dust or some little imperfection in it that we want to get out in the final product. This is the way I've done this in the past. Rhino Wet, 2000 grit. This is the stuff that's made in Portugal. Our friend in Portugal, we always give him a plug anyway. I hope he had no trouble working on his bike last time we communicated anyway. And of course, dish of soapy water. But the most important thing, you always have your cup of coffee first thing in the morning. Once you have that coffee, the sanding goes like twice as fast. So the first thing is really quickly, just to get a feel for if the paint is totally cured out, it'll dull right up with 2000 grit. And we're going to try to minimize the edge on this, even though there's no way you're going to make it invisible. We'll try to minimize it by sanding right up to the edge, trying to get this all flat and dull. And then with a hard block, any imperfections or dust, or there's a few little spots in here. And I can tell you a funny story that it happens all the time. You spray and clear, everything's perfect. There's just a little bit of wind blowing, and all of a sudden, bzzz. Now, if you leave them in there, let them dry, you can sand them out. But if you do this and go, let me get him out of there, you dig a hole, you make a mess. So I am, I'm so jealous of people that work in a spray booth, especially, if you have the money or the equipment. But if you don't, my point is you don't really need it. You can do it, do just what I'm doing now. It's not all that difficult to do. It's time consuming. But the first part of anything like this is, and there's other ways to do this, I know. Some people just take a giant buffer and buff away. Well, I find the 2000 grit and this Indasa paper is really good, by the way. Now I can see that I have that flat and dull. Let me see if I don't know if I can handle it here. It's flat and it's dull. Now this part up here where the decal is, I want to really, really be careful and delicate. I don't want to go through into that decal, so I've got to just be real careful. Go right over it lightly, but don't grind away at it. And of course, when I do hit the lottery, don't hold your breath here, by the way. When I do hit the lottery, I wouldn't put it in the house because this stuff really does, it is toxic and it does stink. But I would love to be able to rent space at somebody's body shop for, some really inexpensive amount of money. Maybe free, in fact. Free would be good. And have a real spray booth and have real, But the bottom line is, and this is what I always emphasize, it's nice if you have it, but you really don't need it to get this high quality work. Now at some point in time, I want to get a flat block. This is a hard block. I want to get some 2000 grit on a hard block. There's a couple little spots in here, and they're things that a lot of people would never even see. Little specks of dust in between these little edges of the decal. But the block will get the last of the little imperfections, the little dust. And I really have seen guys that like, painted a guitar or something, a car even, and just take that buffing wheel with a black pad and some rough compound. But it doesn't look like this when you're done. And because this bike, I know Vlad is a fussy guy, and like myself, his passion is to have a super nice, super clean motorcycle. And there's a very small price to be paid for having a really nice motorcycle. You gotta polish it, you gotta clean it, you gotta do the maintenance. And I always say, if it were free, every bike on Bear Mountain would look like it was brand new. But unfortunately, some people are not willing to pay the price. Now I'm just looking at any other spots, and sometimes you do see a spot when you candle it. Now this is the compound I found, and it's a medium cut. They make one, and the rougher cut than this is to take the scratches out on 1500. On 2000, this combined with 2000 seems to give us a really, really nice shine. And again, one of the things with this is it's expensive stuff. This is about a $35. Some places charge over $35. And if you really want to be like Glenn has the complete kit, the rough, the medium, and the final. But I find if you're going to do it on an inexpensive budget, just having this and the 2000 grit will get you a pretty nice finish. It works good. These Harbor Freight, they're $15. The buffers and a terry cloth or a microfiber pad doesn't seem to really make any difference. And this is the rough cut part of it. The final polishing we'll do with a soft sponge pad on the bigger buffer, but this is really just to get the scratches out. And by the way, this will take about 10-15 minutes back and forth. The one thing I don't like to do is don't do this, just hold it in one position. If you're constantly moving it, and at some point in time the compound kind of dries out, you can spray it with a drop or two of water, a little bit of Windex, anything like that. The purpose of this gets out all of the 2000 grit scratches. And I can see already oh yeah, it's coming up nice. It takes a few minutes, and you can't be impatient with this. This just takes time, and eventually the gloss just comes right up. Now the final thing before we take the tape off in the back mask, and I put a little bit of this on a soft sponge buffing pad. And by the way, if you do this, just go out and do your car or your motorcycle or anything. And there's a real good set of videos, the ones Glenn did with his products. I don't remember the name of them, but they're back on our channel. Oh yeah, here we go. Now the final thing, and I always do this just to put a little bit of this on, rub it in, don't let it dry, you do not let that stuff dry. I'm not sure if you can see how shiny that is. That really did come out pretty good. All right, now the next thing is I got to take the tape off, be very careful along the edge, and then I'll run a buffing wheel on the whole part. Anytime you're pulling masking tape off, the best way to do it, just get rid of the tin foil, is pull it straight back. Don't pull it up, pull it straight back. It cuts the finish underneath, makes a little bit nicer edge. And even though we're going to buff over that, we certainly want to make it as nice as possible. Now with a blue pad and this final clear, now once that's microfibered off, and it's just a question now of cleaning it up, I think Vlad's going to be pretty happy with that. Now only a few days ago that was really an ugly gouge right in the seat. Right now, and with the whole part buffed out like that, I think that's ready to put back on the bike. Believe it or not, like Dale's RZ, the 350, that's a lot more difficult than it looks. It looks like that would be a very simple thing. It's not. And I hope the video gave you some ideas of what you can do to scratches and dents and dings on your bike. Now we got a little time left here, and I thought I'd just take care of this before I end this work session. And then the next time we get to work on this, I'm going to start on those big fairing parts, which just getting them prepped up for primer is going to be a monster job. But getting these two parts that he could pick these up at his convenience, this will be a big thing. Again, the best system I know is the 2000 Indasa and that 4C compound, and then some kind of finishing product on top, or wax or whatever. Now again, all of these things, they're basically 99% labor and 10% material. Now even these parts that just have clear on them, or even if you bought a brand new car or motorcycle, it would be nice. It would be better than what the factory does. Even if you just hit it with a buffing compound, especially that 4C stuff. Glenn has told me he took his car at one time and spent a good amount of time with the buffing wheel and brought the paint. After many years, it was getting a little dull. Brought it back to like a new car in a relatively short amount of time. And even without going any further than that, and we will go further, but we brought the shine right up. Well, I guess that's why people really, really love carbon fiber parts. That really came out nice. And as I said before, I think Vlad will be very happy. He's a very discerning customer. If there's a nicer BIMOTA than that somewhere, I haven't seen it. And again, whenever you do these kind of repairs or something that you have to correct, you always hope it comes out good. I think this one came out better than what I thought it would. And the hugger is a free bonus here. And that's all we're going to get done today. We actually have a couple more things left to plant, thanks to Karen, and go pick up the grandson, but I think this was a real productive day. And hope you enjoyed it. You got some ideas of what you can do with your carbon fiber stuff, and thanks for watching.